yes, Gyokeres deal concerns. So, what is going on with the Gyokeres deal? And are United advancing? Are they making progress? Are we any closer to striking the deal between Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon? Well, no proposal has been made as of yet, but disruption, uh, the comfort zone has eradicated itself over in Sporting, and the gentleman's agreement has well and truly been burnt to a crisp. And now there's nothing left, and Victor Gyokeres is now said to be very angry with his club for dishonouring the gentleman's agreement in the allowed price tag that they'll let him leave for. And how does that impact Manchester United's approach? Because I think very much so, with the plans as they are, we've got Cunha over the line. We're trying as we might to get Brentford to loosen up their hand a little bit. And I think there's a little bit of concern over with the Mboma deal with Brentford, and of course that news broken today. Thomas Frank is now joining Tottenham Hotspur. Is that the right move for them? Is that really going to be the turning point to Tottenham Hotspur? We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see what happens, what kind of walk the walking is over in. Does that work? Does that work? Because I'm thinking a walk the walk kind of thing, right? And maybe walk is walking, walking is walk, and whatever the hell it is I'm going on about here. Will he make a difference and an impact at Spurs and recover their league standards from 17th? And will they climb up the table? I'm almost certain they will, but will he be the manager that Tottenham are looking for ultimately to go to the next level? Maybe they don't want to go to the next level, who knows? But being Mbomo's ex-boss, or now ex-boss, will that sway the deal for Mboma to United and change his direction to Tottenham? And I think there's a lot of people that would say, yeah, it will, 100%. Yeah, let's go do it. Easiest deal of our lives. Easiest deal of our lives. Get Thomas Frank in, and Mbomo's already signed a dotted line for Tottenham. Well, there's two factors that I think can put United minds at ease about this. Is first and foremost, if it was the manager that Mboma was passionate about, or he was the decisive factor, then Mboma was in agreement to leave the club, to leave Brentford before it was announced that Thomas Frank was leaving. So I think it was to do with the manager. He probably wouldn't have made it obvious he wants to leave. He probably would have said, I'm happy at Brentford. Or just straight up, well, if I'm leaving this club, I want to be on a super premium deal. And he hasn't really given any indication that that's kind of going to be the case. So with Mboma, I think that's factor one. Factor number two is he's spoken about the preference being United. Tottenham have Champions League football, we don't. Newcastle have Champions League football, we don't. There's a lot of clubs that are destinations for Mboma, and he's still chosen us. So I think a managerial change at one of those clubs, for me, is not really going to sway the deal in any other direction. Maybe if United pull out for any reason, which I don't really think they will, because they've gone as far as they have with this, they'll see it out. But if for any reason they should pull out, then I'm sure Mboma would easily, go join one of these other clubs, because he will probably know from Brentford that a deal with United is not possible. They don't want to pay for you. But I can imagine that there is definitely, from what I'm hearing, the murmurings is that the second bid is nigh. That, of course, with the window being shut now, doesn't open for another. It doesn't open for another 6 days. on the 16th because, of course, Club World Cup. Um, but actually, I think it was originally meant to open the 16th of June anyway, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference for us. But yeah, and Burmo deal, I think we'll get that across the line. Gyokeres is one that I'm a little more concerned about because it's definitely the sort of guy that I would say you sign him after securing Cunha and Mbermo. That's a very, very strong front three. Very, very strong front three. And the best part about it is that it really puts the emphasis on the manager who had goal scoring issues last season. We could have given him or spared him the benefit of the doubt. You won't have that same coverage this season, though. You won't quite get the same leeway. So I'm intrigued to see that he gets a very strong, on paper, potential wise, a very strong attack on paper, and ultimately put us into a position where you have to deliver and there is nowhere to hide for you now. Now I'm hoping we don't just sign those, sign up a front three and leave it at that. There's definitely other deals that need to be done, as well as other attackers need to leave the club. And funnily enough, I do believe that with the departure, or the looming departure of Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony, Sancho, four players leaving, we struggled with only two of them leaving, um, or three of them not being at the club. We struggled for depth up front, so we've only really got two options that can play potentially down the right, and then one option really to play down the left. But then again, maybe Mason Mount goes into that position. I feel like specialties in that sort of position, in that 10, um, I think just having Cunha and Mbermo to potentially play in those 10s with Diallo potentially being shifted to play a wing back as more of an offensive player, I'm thinking maybe there's room to analyse the market for another option that can play as the backup, can play as your rotation. That's a little more of that trusty type player, tried and tested, but very much above all else, very trustworthy. You can rely on him to do a job. Um, with Gyokeres, it's the superstar factor. I think so. The goals tally that he's amounted whilst being at Sporting, people will say, but it's Portugal. It's the Portuguese league. Portuguese league is still, to put up those stats in the Portuguese league, that's good. That's really good. Really, really good stats. Like, really, really good stats. All of the other exceptionally overpriced players that have come out of Portugal have not really measured up those, stats that are that good. So, Gyokeres, at this stage, bit more of a later bloomer, but has found a very good groove in his career and will want to continue that trend. Now, as to where he goes for his next club to continue that trend, I think it's fair to say that probably as far as the fan favourite destination for him to go, and probably the Gyokeres internal favoured destination would be Manchester United, though not in the most ideal scenario. I think ultimately it's the club, it's the potential to that deal. If it all works out and Gyokeres is a Man United player and United start to get good again, Gyokeres is going to go, well, that paid off. And it perhaps would. It perhaps would pay off. And the best part is that it would pay off massively for Manchester United as well. So I see the double positive in that. I see the big two thumbs up for that. And it's an ambitious deal to do. So it would give a big boost of confidence in the people that are employed in the transfer departments in doing this sort of business, because it's ambitious and because it's not too difficult a deal to say, oh, well, we're going to go for plan B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, however many steps down that ladder you have to go to find your deal. It would be targeting deal A. Though it was a bit crazy that we were targeting Delap as the favourite instead of starting with Victor Gyokeres. But I think the idea that Sporting have basically scrapped this the 60 plus 10 million euro package deal as the gentleman's agreement between player and club. They scrapped that. Makes negotiations for any of the clubs to come after Gyokeres that much more difficult, and Gyokeres is understandably very angry about it. Um, and it makes the departure from Sporting a lot more difficult for the player to really sort of get to decide whereabouts it is he wants to go. Because usually, when you're in that position as a player, you're afforded the luxury of being able to pick and choose because all of the suitors would be paying up to be able to afford you as a player. Um, and with United, it's the case that we've got enough money to sort the Cunha and the Mbomo deal before needing to sell anybody. But then with the Gyokeres deal, that we do need to figure out who it is we're selling and where we're getting some money in. Um, Talking of strikers, one piece of news that has really not got me has not put a big smile on my face and instead put a big frown on my face was Rasmus Højlund, though very much drawing interest from Italy with the prospect of loan offers with the options to buy where United want it. If it's going to be a loan deal, there has to be the obligation at the end of it. Um, Now, maybe that's a deal that United could do. However, Rasmus Højlund has turned around apparently. Now, whether this is true or not, yet to be seen. Um, but the tune is that he wants to stay to prove himself. And for me, it feels like this is the reason why Manchester United are where they are, is because of players like Højlund. Not in terms of like talent wise, but in terms of when it's obvious to the club that your time to go is now, you throw the spanner in the works and you hold the club back for your own gain, right? And that's kind of what we're stuck in this rut with. And the problem is can we trust the club to make the situation so much so that Højlund has to be he has to look for the exit door. And I think that's what United need to start looking to do with a lot of the players that say, I'm staying here next season. And they need to be calling up those players' agents and saying, start looking for the next club for your player, please, because he's not playing next season. The amount of minutes he gets on that pitch is zero. Zero. You need to start getting to work. And that's what the focus has to be. And interesting to see what happens on the sales front. It's looking probably more likely that the first sale of the summer is going to be a Garnacho, with Chelsea and Arsenal interested. Chelsea and Arsenal. Ooh. I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, that's terrible. He's going to another Premier League club," and I say the problems we've got with Garnacho at the moment, they are most definitely forefrontal a personality issue. And he may take that personality issue with him to Chelsea or to Arsenal, and it might be it could be hilarious to watch as Garnacho in a Chelsea blue or the Arsenal red and white, stink out the place. I think there's definitely something to be said about that. So yeah, maybe he proves everybody wrong and goes to Chelsea or Arsenal and becomes a Ballon d'Or contender. Maybe he does that sort of level of madness. Who knows? But I think personally, I think it would be hilarious to watch some of the meltdowns. I would love to see some of them Arsenal fan clips, to the sheer meltdown of Garnacho becoming a very legitimate target for Arsenal Football Club. I'd love it. Absolutely love it. Anthony Herbert, he's coming. Alejandro Garnacho, baby. He's coming for you. He's coming for your club. He's coming to sink you. That's what's going to happen. But yeah, so we've got, of course, the Gyokeres deal with the difficulties on the player's end with his current club, as well as United's difficulties in doing this deal with the need to sell players to put together the budget needed to make the deal become a reality. But I trust that there is definitely a legitimate fee, that there is absolutely going to be every attempt in the book should we get sales across the line um, to really target the signing of Victor Gyokeres. And where Andy Mitten has said, I've not heard anybody from the club or from what people from the club have said. Then apparently there's no real discussions going on about Gyokeres. Nobody's talking about him. Well, according to everybody else that does stay in transfers loops, have said that the conversations have been going on for a little while. And judging that Amorim being a former manager to Gyokeres, probably has, well, I can definitely say that he really would have wanted him at United, no matter what time he's been at the club. Absolutely, he would have been desperate. Please, I wish we could put in a deal to get this guy to this club. He would make my life so much easier. And I think those conversations would have been going on, which is why Gyokeres, and under no circumstances, has said, hey guys, just to let you know, Manchester United is definitely not a destination of mine. Do not fancy going there at the moment. No Champions League football. That's where I really want to be. And it doesn't feel like it's a project that suits me. He's not said anything of the sort. If anything, he's very much said, kept that door wide open, said, well, I could go anywhere. I could go to any club. Champions League is a preference, but Man United sure looks so good. That would look so good on me. That would look so good on me. It would look a really beautiful thing. I swear, really, really beautiful thing. Orange man wearing orange shirt. Can you imagine? Um, but yeah, that's where we're at with the Gyokeres stuff. And let me know what your feelings are about that. Whether you guys think that this is a very good signing for United to make. And by the way, the naysayers, Gyokeres, he's not a needle mover. He's not the guy for the club. Who is the guy then? Rasmus Højlund? Jamie Vardy? Danny Ings? Paul Mullin? Who is it then? Since the most informed striker in Europe is not the choice of player for United. He would be a very goddamn good start. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that for free. Even if probably a better option. Well, a significantly better option than what perhaps a Victor Osimhen would be. And interestingly enough, Victor Osimhen is a guy that does like Manchester United Football Club. If Gyokeres, for whatever reason, doesn't happen, and we can sort a deal for Victor Osimhen, and Victor Osimhen says, I could take a bit of a pay cut to come to you, the door comes wide open yet again for a Victor Osimhen. That could happen also. And that would be an interesting prospect also to go potentially down the Victor Osimhen. From one Victor to another. What would be sick is if we had both Victor Osimhen and Gyokeres at the club, but now I'm getting a bit greedy. I'm getting a bit too overzealous with my ambitions. But hey ho, it is what it is with this club. I'm intrigued to see what happens with the goalkeeping situation as well, and also who would the midfield target be? Who will it be once we got the strikers done? Once that is sorted, if we can get Mboma across the line, then fantastic. But let's see what happens after those signings are done. Once that attack is put together, molded together, let's see where the attention turns to next. Pop your thoughts in the comment section down below, as well as liking that subscribe button and subscribing that like button, and do the opposites as well. Like the subscribe and subscribe the like, guys. Please do that. And yeah, we'll be back again if we do find more breakings. Definitely, I don't think tomorrow we'll have any good, the bad, and the ugly, as it is um, a week off, taking our short break. We like the players, man. We have to have our summer breaks as well. We have to have our summer break. So keep an eye out for other content coming out as well about transfer stories, the latest and the greatest for Manchester United. Marcus Rashford, just a quick one with Marcus Rashford. Rashford's transfer probability to Barcelona is 40%. Why only 40? Because until this moment, there's no official negotiations between the two clubs. He is one of the options yet still there, so it could happen. That needle can move. But anyways, take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday nights, and yeah, we'll see you again next time. Ciao for now.